everybody, it is Corey Poirier here, award-winning keynote speaker and international best-selling author. And today is the fourth and final video in our video training series. So first of all, thank you so much for all the insight that you've been sharing, the feedback, the way that you've been getting engaged in the community, the questions that you've been sending to us directly. Been very, very exciting, and it's been an honor, of course, to be a part of your life during this video training as well. So we've covered a lot of ground. You know, if you look at the individual videos, it may not seem like we've covered as much as we have, but we've covered a lot of ground. So in video number one, of course, I revealed the spider method, which I know a lot of people got really excited about, and having their own template. So also in video number one, we talked about my evaluation forms that I use to get a lot of leads and testimonials and even to build your newsletter list. Then in video number two, I talked about how to become an authority and the importance of doing so. Also in video number two, I talked about standing out from the other speakers by offering a lot of unique value adds. And then finally, in the last video, video number three, I talked about the power of studying at the feet of giants and delivering a wow. Well, I mentioned in earlier videos, a big part of the reason is I keep getting these questions like, how can I get paid to speak? How can I get high fees to speak? How can I share my message from the stage and share my story from the stage, impact other people in a positive way? How can I grow my business from the stage? These are some of the common questions that I get on a regular basis. And so the sharing the story from the stage, helping you do that, that was one of the reasons I wanted to put this together. I also want there to be a lot more high quality speakers out there making a positive impact for the right reasons. So those are some of the big ones. But I also know it's important to create a lifestyle for yourself to allow you the freedom to be able to go and make that impact. I mentioned early on, I think it is crucially important if you don't have the flexibility to do it full time, to do it part time and do it on the side. Some people build their whole career that way. Some people never, go and do it full time. But at the same time, if that's your goal, I want you to know what's possible. So I mentioned in an earlier video this talk that I did where I got paid as much for that one talk in 60 minutes. When you factor in supplemental income and everything that came from that one talk already, I got paid more than I made my first year working for the man. And so with that one talk, just to give you the numbers, and again, this is for the talk itself and then supplemental income that came from the talk, it worked out to $15,600 for a 60-minute talk. Now again, as you know, there's a lot of work to get to the stage at that point. There's a lot of work for the future talks that I'm getting paid for that's part of that money, but at the end of the day, that was the revenue that came in so far from one talk. That's not to say it's going to happen all the time. I will say that it does happen. I'm going to say regularly, but it doesn't happen all the time. And of course, when you're just starting, it's going to be a bit before you get there. But I just want you to know the potential when it comes to creating a lifestyle business for yourself if you're sharing a positive impact in the right way with the right clients from the stage. And I also, that's part of the reason I mentioned that we were going to reveal a special offer for those of you who want guidance building your career. And that's why we want to offer you that, so that you can get to that point a lot quicker. As well, in this video, we're going to reveal another, I'm going to say, exclusive method that I use during my talks. So I'm definitely going to do that. Wait till, watch for that. It's going to be near the end of the video. And we're going to provide a template as well, much like we did with the spider method. This one is actually the 3 steps that I use for getting a standing ovation from every customer. Now, I will tell you there's normally 5 steps, and in the full program itself, the speaking program, Speak for Impact, we're going to be revealing the other 2. But either way, even in the free video training, I want you to have stuff you can walk away with. So we're going to be doing that. Another thing I wanted to mention as it relates to this program, I mentioned that some people are going to want this guidance that you're going to get from me, and they want maybe guidance to launch their speaking career or even just to get paid high fees or take it to the next level. Well, it's important for me to mention as well that I don't normally do coaching at all. So coaching is not my thing. My business model is not set up for me to be a coach. And at the same time, I can't even release a program like this more than once a year because, as you know, as you've seen through these videos, I do a lot of speaking on the road. We have the radio show. We have a lot of stuff going on. So I can only really do this once a year. So the other thing that's exciting about this program to me is opening up the doors to give you this guidance. It gives me that opportunity to work directly with you. Another thing I wanted to mention that we'll be doing with this new program that we're opening the doors up to today, in fact, is that I'm going to be actually taking once a week, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I'm going to be doing a webinar as well every other week. And at the same time, we're going to allow you to ask your questions. So you'll be able to submit your questions and I'll be able to answer your questions as we go along the process. so that way I can guide you through the process and you're not left alone. Now we're also going to have a Facebook community where you're going to be able to talk with other people in the community and learn from them and work together and learn with each other. So you're going to have a lot of support, which is a cool thing about the program. But we're not there yet. As I promised, we're going to be still giving you some more free training in this training video. So again, at the end, watch for this customer experience template, this getting standing ovations from every customer template. But before we get there, I promised you as well that I was going to give you the answers to the common questions that we've been getting. So you've been seeing that we recorded a Q&A. We're going to reveal the 3 most common questions right now. So let's go and check out those answers to those questions that you've been submitting and you've been sending in. And I will tell you as well, at the same time, we're going to also, rather than just me try to tell you what the experience is like of people working with me, we're going to actually share some comments. We're going to have some people share their thoughts with you as well based on their experience working with me over the years as well. So let's go to the Q&A and answer your most common questions.
I have Corey with me today in the hot seat.
Hey everybody.
Corey and I are we just wanted to start off by saying how thrilled we are at how engaged you guys have all been over the last 3 videos, the emails, and the comments on, social media. We've even been so excited to look at some of the emails and pictures that you guys have sent and how you've started to put this content to use right away. We're excited that you guys are wanting to jump right in and put it to use, and we also received a lot of questions. And so today I wanted to put Corey in the hot seat, and he's going to answer some of those questions that you guys have sent us. So Corey, are you ready for this?
I am super stoked. Let's make some magic happen. And also thank you guys so much, as Shelly mentioned, for sharing your insight with us in terms of the things you want to hear, posing some questions to us as well. Kind of gives me a purpose, and at the same time, we thought this might be the best format to be able to answer some of those questions to help you, I guess, decide, what you think about the training so far, and and just where you can take it from here. So really excited to be here.
Let's make some dreams happen, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's start with a question right away. So one of the questions somebody had sent in was, how can I connect emotionally with my audience?
So connecting emotionally with one's audience, this is something I'm very passionate about because, there's a sales saying that says we buy with emotion and then we justify with logic. And so what that means is, they go so far as to say we buy from people we like and then essentially we justify the rest. So why I say this and why I bring this up right now is because I believe when you're speaking to an audience, if they buy with emotion, in other words, if you can hit them emotionally with your storytelling, with your message, then I feel personally they'll come along for the ride. They'll take more from your talk. You'll make a bigger impact with them. So I'm passionate about it because I know when you connect emotionally with an audience, that's when things start to happen. That's when change occurs. That's when you can make the big impacts that we're trying to make as speakers. So the question is, though, how do we do that? So in my experience, there may be multiple ways to do this, but there's one that I feel is far and above the most effective way to do it, and that's through storytelling. We started as people, we started hearing stories around a campfire, we started telling stories, and even cavemen put them on walls. They wrote on the walls and or carved in the walls their own story to share with us. So we are storytellers by nature, and that's why I think we learn from story, but we also get attached to stories. Emotionally, we connect to stories. So if you want to get an audience to emotionally connect with what you're saying, then I believe the best way to do it, because this is how we're built, is to share stories. People remember how you made them feel, and I've heard this said many, many times, and I agree with it, over what you say to them every day of the week. And the reason they remember how you made them feel is because that's the emotional connection. So again, how do you do it? Well, you have stories that will connect emotionally with an audience. And how you know that is because the story connected with you. You're probably a good representation of your audience in many cases, in terms of, as human beings and as a general population, a universal story that touches a person will probably touch most people for the same reason. So if you have a story, let's say, about a time when the pie landed on your face and you were trying to maybe launch a marketing campaign and the marketing campaign bombed, but yet a month later, a year later, you realize why it bombed. You learned something from that you were able to take into your next activity or endeavor or project that made it even better. So sharing that story, people will connect emotionally because we've all had those setbacks.
That's right.
If you have a story, let's say about your child at home, a funny story they did, that'll probably connect emotionally with the audience because a lot of parents will be in the audience. Pets, a lot of people have animals. I would say the vast majority. So if you have a funny story or an emotional story of a life lesson learned from an animal, that'll probably connect with the audience. So going back to the original point, storytelling is how you connect emotionally with your audience. If you can find the right story, a story that universally connects with most people, and you can share it in the right way, and you understand the power of storytelling and how to insert humor if necessary, if you can do all those things well, you have a much better chance of connecting with your audience.
I hear that word storytelling, and there's some people that are teaching that, but I don't think they're necessarily that great storytellers, or they're telling kind of a canned way of telling stories. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, you're different, so.
I think if you want to connect emotionally with an audience, I use PowerPoint. I don't think there's anything wrong with using slides. It's just I think you have to use them right. So if you use them well and you have the right stories and you connect emotionally with the audience because of those stories, that's the way you're going to move your audience into action, if that's your goal, or the way you're going to connect with them, if that's your goal.
Speakers make the mistake of giving information and not sharing stories and engaging the audience. That's why I think your program would be good. It'd be good to help people to say, okay, so you're an expert in this area, you understand this area, so how do you communicate this in a thought-provoking, compelling manner that people can walk away and get some learning from it? So that's why I think your speaking program would be very helpful to people.
So, social media. Once it's out there, it's out there. So is there a little bit of a beware when it comes to social media as, a professional speaker or, owning your own business? Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I'll answer it this way. First of all, it depends on what your brand is. So some people are, what you'll call a contrarian brand. So somebody that goes against the norm, somebody that wants to rattle the cage. So if you're a brand, and by the way, it's hard for a brand new speaker to become a contrarian because I'll say it this way, it's almost like being the villain in a movie. It requires, you got to be on your toes if you're going to be contrarian because you're going to have a lot more opposition to your message. So somebody like a Seth Godin who says things that stir the pot and make you really think, oh my, I never thought of it that way before. So if you're contrarian and you're on social media and you're posting something that maybe some people might be bothered by, but maybe that's your brand, then that's a different thing. So obviously that's intentional. That's the best way, it's intentional.
Yeah.
But if you're just going, okay, well, I feel this way strongly about this, maybe take a pause and think, how does this impact my brand? So in other words, if you are, let's use the political example. If you're passionate about politics, but it has nothing to do with your speaking brand, it's probably not a good idea to go out and knock a certain politician or get heavily into the political side of things on your social media or Facebook page, and then maybe turn off some people who otherwise may have seen you in a different light. In my opinion, just bear in mind what you put out there, there's repercussions. And so I see this. I see people that put together events, conferences, summits, what have you, and on one end they're putting out stuff that would say, look at me, I'm at this level, I feel this way, I feel you only should do this with certain clients and you should treat people this way, and then maybe they'll do a big rant on Facebook an hour later. And the two contradict each other. So just be careful of what you put on Facebook, and remember it is out there for life, and also remember that it only takes one person seeing a message that turns them off to start a cycle of negativity that you don't necessarily want, unless that's your goal with your brand.
How do I establish a fee? So let's talk money.
So I'll say it as a two-part answer. The first thing is, if you remember early on, I think it was the first video in the training in Miami, we talked about the evaluation form that took me years to craft. Literally 5 to 6 questions, but these questions are crucial. Each one is really important, and one of them is about, what did you think of my talk? So what I think you should do if you want to know what fee level you should be at is hand out these evaluation forms that I mentioned in the earlier video. If you're not doing it already, craft the evaluation form, hand it out, and what I want you to do after your talk is I want you to tally it up and see where you're at. and see, obviously what you're doing is you're tallying the approvals versus the maybe the slight negative comments. Now, whatever number you're at, it's not a bad thing. You could have a talk that just was off that day, and you could get 50% loved it and 50% suggested improvement. But the big deal is that if you test this over a few talks, and you're maybe lower than 75% as far as approval ratings, then what I want you to do is I want you to work on your craft. Maybe, as you said, study the giants of the speaking industry. Look for the little things you can tweak. Get your talks to where they're at 80%, 90%, 85%. And at that point, I think you're ready to jump into what I'll call the high tier fees, which is above into the thousands, we'll say. Before that, even if you're at 50, 60%, I still feel you can be charging hundreds because I still feel you're delivering a really great value as a speaker. So first of all, you need to know where you're at. So let's say now the other side, if you're at that above 75%, or you can get there quickly, then the next question becomes, what fee do I set? And so what I recommend people do there, especially when you're starting out, is go study the speakers that are similar to you, that are talking about the same things as you, like customer service or sales, whatever area is your niche. I want you to study those speakers, go to their websites, and a lot of times, in a lot of cases, those speakers will have their fees printed right there on their website. So if you go there and you see that most speakers that are speaking on customer service are in the $3,000 range, then that at least tells you a barometer of where you could be if you're delivering at that same level. So then the second thing I would say is if you can't find fees or rates on their websites, an easy way to do it, maybe helps with the timing and the research because it's efficient, is go to the websites of the bureaus or the associations like maybe the CAPS, so the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, their website, or in the US, the National Speakers Association website. Search speakers that speak on the same thing as you, like customer service, and see where the fee levels are at. And you're going to get quite a few people that are in customer service if that's your niche. And if they are, you're going to see fees that are going to be a certain range, and that's going to tell you what fee level you could be at if you are an authority, if you are delivering above 75%. And like I said, if you're not, we can help you with the tools to get you above that 75%. So that's my answer.
So the tools that you're talking about, of course, that's related to the program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so the program that we've been teasing it, we're going to be opening the doors actually today. This program, the idea is for those who want to come along for the ride and have guidance so that they're not left alone doing it on their own and learning in the trenches like I did, 15 years in the trenches. I would rather teach you what it took me 15 years to learn in months.
If you can find someone that's already made those mistakes and has already learned from those mistakes, they can help you shave off years off of the experience and get you to a point in very, very quick fashion because they've been there. They've made those mistakes. They have the war wounds to show it. So you don't have to make the same mistake.
And so with the program, there's going to be a community. So I'm sure that in the program, the community can work amongst themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so we're gonna have a Facebook community that you're gonna be a part of. When we open doors to the program, and you jump in, and so what's really great about that is our hope is everybody's learning and growing together. I mean, I'll check in and help when I can, but my hope is that you'll help each other as well. So somebody might say, well, I had this talk, and here's what happened. What would you recommend? And there you get extra resources and benefits, and there's such a power in the community support level. So yeah, that's another great example, Shelley. Mm-hmm. It's a great point that in the community, people will help you improve your craft as well. If you videotape your talk and it's an early talk, you have a closed group who are all going through what you're going through. They can watch your video and say, did you ever try doing this here? And et cetera, et cetera.
Community to me is the way to go. It's the basis of masterminding. It's even the basis of why you would be speaking from the stage, is to create community. It's community that will bring about the change and transformation that we want to see on the planet.
So I hope you enjoyed the answers to those questions that you've been submitting. And at the same time, I even hope you enjoyed hearing the testimonials. Part of the reason as well that I created this video training and also the Speak for Impact speaking program that we're opening the doors to now is I want you to have that experience of getting feedback from customers and testimonials like that.
Corey will provide you with the ability to speak with passion from the stage, which is really the important way to reach your tribe, to be able to be authentic, to be comfortable, to be able to deliver from your heart. And Corey has the ability, because he's done it so many times himself, to help you be able to do it yourself.
So I also promised you that we were going to reveal another template and also another little bit of training around an exclusive method that I use to what I call get standing ovations from every customer. Now I've sort of teased some of these along the program as well, but just to kind of put them together, as I mentioned, I usually use 5 of these steps when I'm delivering a talk to get a standing ovation and have that experience that people will remember and talk about. And so it's also an experience that I help companies put in place for delivering that, we'll call that standing ovation level experience for their clients. So here's 3 of the steps that I use during my standing ovations talk that I believe that you can bring to your talks to help you knock it out of the park. So one of them is what I call involving your customer. So how do I do this during talks? Well, this is where I do what I was talking about in terms of the interaction. And depending on the structure of the talk, I'll allow time for a Q&A so that I'm now engaging and involving the audience. If I don't have that opportunity as part of a keynote, well, I'll ask questions. T. Harv Eker, if you've ever seen him as a speaker, he'll always say, he'll ask you a question and then he'll say yes or yes. And he wants you to get you to say yes because he's trying to get you involved and get you interacting. Tony Robbins, I think if I do it correctly, he goes, "I." Everybody say "I." And so Tony does that to get people involved. So there's a lot of ways that you can involve your audience. I call it your customer, but it's your audience. Involve your audience. So what I'm suggesting is ask them questions, get them engaged that way. If you can do a Q&A at the end, that's another way to get them engaged. If you're delivering a workshop or a seminar, well, obviously you have the opportunity to ask them their individual questions and maybe even have breakout sessions. So now they're involved in the entire experience. So there's lots of ways you can involve your customer. And what I'm suggesting is if you want to deliver an experience during your talks, you need to involve your customer. A second thing I'd like to see you do, and I did talk about this earlier, so I won't sort of belabor the point, but it's delivering a wow. So you need to find strategies for making sure you're delivering a wow during your talks. And if you do deliver that wow, again, people are going to remember and they're going to tell other people. And it could be, as I mentioned earlier, it could be as simple as emailing or calling somebody after the fact, if they provided their email address or their phone number, reaching out to them and saying, "I hope you enjoyed my talk. Is there anything you would have liked to see me cover that I didn't?" etc., etc. That can be a wow. And by the way, it's also involving your audience or customer as well by doing that. And then the third step I'd like to share is passion. I mentioned earlier in one of the videos as well, you need to be speaking with passion. So again, we taught you and showed you the spiderweb method, and I believe that's one way that you can bring together and determine what your passion is in terms of what you want to talk about, and you can couple it with, as you saw Shelley do, what am I an authority on? And think back into your journey and say, what am I an authority on? And if you can figure out what you're an authority on and what you love talking about, that becomes your passion. And as I mentioned earlier, the speakers that talk and speak with passion are the ones that make the big impact. So those are 3 steps you can use as part of an experience that you're delivering at every talk. And again, don't forget to grab the PDF template below that'll give you these reminders and give you some examples for how you can. We talked about the idea of you having some support along this journey. If you decide that, and you have decided that speaking is for you, maybe you're speaking now and again you want to get to those high fees. Maybe you are running a business and you want to start speaking to grow your business, or maybe you just want to start a speaking career. So whatever that looks like to you, I promised you that there would be a special offer and an opportunity for you to have some guidance along the way. Because this won't be an easy journey. At the same time, I like to think that we can help you avoid a lot of those manholes and obstacles that I faced during a 15-year career, so that you can kickstart your career in the best way possible. So, what I want to do is I want to now tell you what this program that I've been teasing looks like, in case you decide right now that this is the right opportunity and option for you when it relates to your speaking career. So, here's what you're going to get. Essentially, we decided to design this as a 3-module program. So what does that 3-module program look like? I call it the Wheel of Speaking, aka the 3 P's of speaking. So essentially for me, what it is that I help people through the first part, which is process. And then I take them through the second part, which is promotion and positioning. And then finally, we take them to the area that I call profit. So during this program, we're going to be essentially taking you through this process as well, this journey, these 3 P's. At the same time, it's important for me to mention that you're going to have access to some of the areas all at once. So you're going to have access to elements and components within each of those 3 areas all at once. Because I recognize that some people are going to be at different stages. Maybe they've been speaking for years, but they're not speaking for fees yet. So of course they're going to want to jump ahead maybe to profits or to maybe to positioning and promotion so they can get themselves ready for those big fees. But of course some people are going to be starting right at the beginning, so they're going to be in the process section. So I want to mention that with the flow, I want to flow it like a program. So essentially the first stuff I do will be related to process, because that's the first P, and then the stuff I continue doing, let's say in the second month, will be related to promotion and positioning, and then finally I'll be doing the Q&As and webinars on profit. But I just want you to know that if you join right now, you're going to have access to way more than just that first section. So that's the first important thing to mention. We're going to be doing those weekly lessons, so the Q&As and the webinars. I'm also going to have a resources section. So in the resources section, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite books related to speaking. I'm going to share favorite videos. I'm going to share, let's say, favorite TED Talks. I'm going to be sharing things about my own talks. We're going to even share with you some of the interviews I've done, where I'm revealing some of the secrets from over the years. At the same time as well, you're going to be part of a private Facebook community. And I really love this idea because I understand the support that's involved in these type of communities. I'm a part of a community called Podcasters Paradise, and I can't even begin to tell you the amount of support I've gotten from this community. And I'm a member of different private communities based on programs I joined. So we're going to have a private Facebook community that you can be a member of. Within that community, you can pose your questions. I'll check in every now and then and check the questions out and see where I can help. But you're also going to have community members that are different levels in their speaking career. And you'll be able to submit your video if you've just done a video. You'll be able to put up and say, what do you think of my logo? You'll be able to ask the community these questions and sort of work and grow together. So that's another benefit you're going to get within this program. Also, we decided to interview some experts. We already have a number of these interviews done. We've interviewed more than 12 experts, people like Tom Ziglar. So Tom Ziglar, of course, is with Ziglar Inc. He's the proud son of Zig Ziglar. And Tom also works within the Ziglar training program and even their speaking training program. And so he's revealing some insider secrets with us during the program. James Redfield, the author of what was once the best-selling book in the world, The Celestine Prophecy, talking about how he launched the book in the way he did, for those of you who want to launch a book to help your speaking career. We're also going to have Judy Carter, who's the author of the Comedy Bible. She's been on Oprah talking about the importance of humor and communication. She shared the bill with Bill Clinton. And so Judy is sharing with us the importance of humor and also how she guides people in the speaking business. We have Richard St. John, who spoke on the original, the main TED conference. He has over 9 million views right now in his talk. We'll talk about how he got a TED Talk and what that looked like. Dave Carroll from United Breaks Guitars was also a Hay House author. We have Dave. We have Alicia White, and Alicia actually runs a company called Back of the Room Productions, rather. And so she teaches speakers how to brand and market themselves. So these are some of the experts that you're going to see in the back end if you decide to jump into the program. I also want to mention that you're going to have lifetime access. So you're going to have lifetime access to the members area, the private members area that you're actually a part of. As long as the website is running, you have full time access to it as well. I'm also in the program, I'm going to dissect some speaking videos. So I'm going to perhaps dissect my own video and dissect some speaking videos and tell you why certain things worked and maybe even why things didn't work. And I believe that is powerful as well because we'll help you so that you can dissect talks and learn as we go also. I'm going to reveal a bunch of secrets that I haven't revealed before. Once again, you'll have access to me through sending your email questions in. And so I have to say that I've been excited to bring this program together for a long time. And saying that, of course, I have to run it for a limited time. It's not something where we can take people forever because, as I mentioned, I have a limited amount of time to be able to support this program in the way that I want to and support you in the way that I want to. So this program, we're actually opening the doors right now if you want to jump in. And again, it is for a limited time, less than a week. So now, here is the big question. We mentioned in our Q&A that the big question we were getting from people is, how much money can I make as a speaker? and you've heard the cool, I'll be to say sometimes crazy numbers that you can make as a high impact speaker. You know, we talked, you can make, well, I mean, it's not abnormal for a early speaker to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. A speaker that's been doing it for even a decent amount of time, it's not abnormal to get up to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. So you've heard those crazy numbers, that's possible. So that was the big question we got, is how much money is actually possible in the business? And we even talked to you about how you can start raising your fees. So the second question that I've been getting quite frequently, more via email, is what is the cost to get into this brand new program? Well, good news, the pricing is just $14.95 Canadian. If you decide to jump in now and save rather than going with the payment plan option, or as I mentioned, $5.95 per month for just 3 months. Either way, you get lifetime access and you get into this program that once again could transform your life while helping you impact thousands of lives, if not millions of lives, and earning an income that will allow you to have that lifestyle freedom and financial freedom that you may be looking for. And before you click on the registration, I just wanted to share with you what Olympic gold medalist Heather Moyse has to say about why it's important to invest in ourselves and our training.
I saw you at the CAPS conference this year, and I think that on its own speaks volumes, because you were there trying to, obviously, I mean, I shouldn't assume again, but I think you were there probably trying to improve your craft. And so I guess my question out of that is, do you think it's important for speakers or anybody in any field to go and learn from others in the craft and mingle and see what people are doing really well versus just trying to wing it?
Oh my gosh, I think if you take what you do seriously, there's nothing, you don't wing it. It's the same as being an athlete. Like you train to perfect what you do. If you don't, fair enough, but it means you're doing it as a hobby, not as a career. And it means you're doing it by the seat of your pants and kind of hoping. And when you hope, you may get a stroke of luck, but most likely you don't. And so again, as long as people are aware of what they're doing, just go and do it if you want. But if you want to be better at it and you want to get better at what you're doing and get a better reputation for giving consistently quality presentations, and whether that's presentation on a sporting field, whether that's presentation in a business room or like a conference room, or whether it's on stage in front of, thousands of people, then it takes practice. And some of that practice is conversing with other people and figuring out how they do it. Some of it is literally just watching other people do it. Some of it is taking extra courses and stuff. And I'm a true believer in growth and development, whether that's in your leadership skills or in your technical skills and executing your job. And I think I don't think, regardless of what you're doing, you should ever stop growing or developing and learning.
So there, you've heard it from Heather, you've heard it from me, you've heard the testimonials throughout the video, you've been introduced to this brand new program we decided to launch. Hopefully you enjoyed the free training that we've been delivering to you along the way. And now you get the time to decide, am I going to make this decision, and am I going to take this step for my career, and am I going to take my career to the next level starting now, or will I wait to the future and leave my life as it is? My hope is that you decide that it's time for a change. It's time to transform your life.
I never knew that I would be able to make an impact in this way. I think most speakers, they say this about everyone who wants to run for president, they have a feeling that something in them is great, that something in them is worth sharing, that they have solutions to offer. It's not an ego thing. They really believe it. And I think when you can go back to believing that, separating that from ego, or like you said, and understanding that it is about you and that it starts with you, but it's bigger than you. And I think when every speaker gets that it's bigger than them, they really become modern day life changers.
So, there you have it. You've heard from Heather Moyse, you've heard from the testimonials in this video, you've heard from me, you've even heard from Shelly. Thank you, Shelly, for giving us the homework. You followed, hopefully, the 4 free video training in the series. Hopefully you've been able to take stuff from this video training and work it into your life right away, and I hope that's the case. But if you decide again, and if you decided that you want some guidance along this journey, that you want to jump to that next level a lot quicker, then I hope you're deciding right now that you want to jump into this program and open the doors to a brand new life. So you've probably heard it before, Einstein, they've actually credited the definition of insanity to Einstein. And so what Einstein's version says is that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Well, I hope that you've decided that you don't want to do the same thing over and over again, and it's time for you to make a change. So again, what is the investment? $14.95 if you decide that you want to jump in and jump right in and get a little bit of a discount versus paying over a payment plan. So again, $14.95 is what it costs to jump in. That's the investment in this program. And again, if you consider that if you, like a lot of world-class speakers, if you get to the level where you're getting those world-class fees that I mentioned, it won't take long to recover that tiny investment. At the same time, we also have a payment plan. You know, that might be better for some people. So the payment plan is $5.95 per month for 3 months, and the first $5.95 gets you into the program, and then 30 days later you'll have another payment, 30 days after that, and then you have lifetime access, just like the people that decide they want to go with the one payment option. So that's the pricing. And once again, I mentioned, I know that when you're thinking of an investment, it's always a hard decision to make. I will just simply say that if you want to transform your life and take it to the next level, consider what the benefit is. Consider sitting there, let's say in 10 years time and looking back and saying, I did it, versus maybe, looking a year back or looking at 10 years time and saying, I wish I did it. So once again, I've heard some great speakers talk about programs when they launched that they had different people that found a way to get the money. Maybe it was they put it on a specific credit card, or they just simply went out of their way to find a way to get the money, to make the investment because they knew it could transform their life, and this could be a defining moment in their life. You can register right now below, and you'll start getting access to some of this great content on the back end of the Speak for Impact, Speak for Peace program right now. So thank you so much for allowing me to join you on this journey. I hope to hear from you in the near future, and also I hope to see you inside the walls of the private member community of this brand new program. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you can find a way today to live with